All right, well, welcome to another session about library research, Research 101. My name is Calvin Craig. I'm the Information Access Librarian here at Gaston College, and so glad you could join us today to take a look at the resources that we can provide you here at Gaston College. There's so many things that we have available for you. I do want to remind you that our facilities are open. We're open from 7:30 until 9 o'clock, Monday through Thursday. Fridays we're open from 7:30 until 12 o'clock. We do have Saturday hours. We're open 9 until 1 o'clock. My title is Information Access Librarian, but I'm here to help you out with any reference needs that you have. Our facility is located here on Dallas campus in Morris Library, but we do have libraries located at the Lincoln campus, and we also have a library located at the Kimbrell campus as well. I do encourage you, if you'd like to get a library card from us, please do. You can always come by any of our locations, show a picture ID. That could be from your driver's license if you want to. It could be a student ID, but show a picture ID and fill out a very short form, and we'll be able to get a library card for you. And that library card is great for you to use because, of course, you could check out what we have housed in our facilities. We have about 50,000 materials that are available for people to check out. And we have, of course, a number of books. We also have some DVDs that are available to check out. But we are also very fortunate to have a tie-in with most of the other community colleges in the state of North Carolina that allows our students, faculty, and staff to be able to search and order any material from any of the other libraries and have that material brought here for you to check out. So actually, you have access to over 1 million items, giving you one of the largest libraries in North Carolina to get information from. I'm going to do some searches so that we can take a look at how we can effectively find things. But because today is a general overview session, what I want to do is focus you on our library homepage to a particular guide that I've created that houses a lot of our material together. And it kind of talks you through the research process and highlights some of the main resources that I think will be most effective for you when doing research. So I'm going to bring my page up and share my screen to everybody. And of course, the very first page I'm going to take a look at is the Gaston College homepage. You've been here many times. You've been here to click on your Blackboard link and your WebAdvisor links and your student email links that are right here at the main part of the page. But if you come up into the navy bar, we have some other links that are available for you here. And in between GC Foundation and the Lincoln campus, you will easily find the library homepage. Now, the library homepage is found in some other sections, even on this page, but it's quickly accessible by clicking this link at the very top of the screen. Once you click that link, you're at the library homepage. And then you can take a look at the different resources that we have. Now, before we begin, I do want to point out that there are a lot of links and choices here on this page, but we're going to condense things down. I'm going to show you one particular guide that can be very useful for you. But before I do that, I want your eyes to gravitate over to the right-hand side of the screen, and I'm going to scroll down until you see a box here under Research Help. That is our chat box. So that chat feature is there in case you run into any kind of problem. You can always chat with us if you need to. This is a 24/7 chat, so you may not get necessarily a person from our library as far as a staff member that can help you out, but this service has librarians available 24/7. Even in the middle of the night, you can ask questions of this chat feature, and they will be able to help you out if you run into any kind of problem. Now, once you've seen the chat feature, then if you come down underneath that box, you'll start seeing some links. And I want you to come down to the link that says college level research. So that is the guide that is useful to have a lot of good incorporated information to help you find what you need and to give you a good understanding of the different types of material we have in the library and the types of material that can help you out most effectively and efficiently search what you need to. When I click college level research, it opens up into this page. Now at the very middle of the page, these are just some example research topics that are very popular right now that are kind of rotating through. If you look over to the far right-hand side, you'll see an avatar for me. You'll see also the contact information. You'll see that you could email me if you have any issues or problems. And also underneath that section, we have the chat feature also embedded here. So if you run into any kind of problems, you can chat here if you need any help. In the middle of the page, I have a link to a really great resource that we have at Gaston College called our Gaston College Writing Center. They're doing a lot of their services virtually, but they can really great resource to help you out with your paper, with finalizing your paper, getting all your information together and put together well. They'll go over it with you. They are an excellent resource to have for us here at Gaston College, and please make use of them if you can. The information literacy series link that's underneath, I'm not necessarily going to click on that. I'll let you look at it later. But that's actually going to take you to a YouTube page. The video that I'm creating today, as well as a lot of other videos that I've created about how to search effectively in the library, are found through this link. So these are things that I've created that can help you as a student at Gaston College find things most effectively here at Gaston College. So it's a reinforcement. But I do want to point out that over on the left-hand side, I have a link to something called ProQuest Research Companion. I'm also not going to click that one. I'm going to let you look at it on your own. But that particular resource is free for you to have access to. Now, it's not necessarily designed to show you the resources at Gaston College per se, but it is a good resource to give you good information to help you become an effective college level researcher. So it's a free thing for you to go into and take a look at, and has a wealth of information in it to help you become a really great researcher at a college level. Well, when we're doing research, one of the first things that we want to do is we want to come up with a topic for research. So if you take a look at the guide that I've created, I have various tabs up here at the very top of the screen, and we're going to rotate from left to right. I've already taken a look at the home page, so we're finished with that. We're going to come over here to the right, and I'm going to click Selected Topics. And from here, we have a list of selected topics that'll display. Now, it's I think it kind of jumbled me up a little bit. I'm going to have to move this. But this is a box here of different types of selected topics with critical questions that are very timely topics of the day. So that's available over here. I don't know why it kind of showed up in this column. Normally, I'm going to have it over here in this column, so I'm going to play with that after we're done today. But it should display over in this section. But at the top of the screen, I've got a little link here for something called SIRS Issues Researcher. And if you've never used this resource, it's a great starting point in terms of research, because not only can it help you develop a topic or an idea, but it also has tons of information already available for you to do research with. And we're going to go ahead and click that and go into it so you can take a look at it and see how it works. Now on my screen, you might have seen a graphic that kind of quickly went through. It said brought to you by NC Live. So NC Live is where the state of North Carolina has purchased a number of resources for all libraries to have access to. SIRS Issues Researcher is just one of these. Now there's probably about 60 or 70 different resources. The neat thing is these resources are available to all libraries across North Carolina. So what that means is that SIRS Issues Researcher is available at all community colleges, but it's also available at all the four-year schools in North Carolina. So if you were to leave here and college transfer and go to Gardner-Webb or Carolina or Duke or UNC Charlotte or any of these locations, if you're in a public school or a private school in North Carolina, you're going to be able to have access to SIRS Issues Researcher, which means they're searching the same stuff you're doing today. So SIRS Issues Researcher, they lay out their topics or their issues laid out here in these graphic representations with the vocabulary underneath to tell you what the topic is about. So you have something about virtual classrooms, police brutality, social media. Those are trending. If you come up to the top of the screen, you can click this little drop-down menu, and you can see topics categorized by subject. So there's topics dealing with business, there's topics dealing with drugs, health, and wellness. But even down below, there's one that says all leading issues. And if you click it and then come over, let me move this little box over here and click A to Z, you have an A to Z alphabetical list of tons of different research topics that are available for you to do research with. Tons of stuff here. Now, one of the things here is when you're going through these topics, you may decide, well, you know, I know what this is about, but I don't really understand what this is about. Maybe you're not familiar with the vocabulary term. You haven't seen that before. You're not really familiar with it. So if you come across something that you're not familiar with, or you see a term, you recognize a term, but you're kind of like, well, what kind of research issue is that about? All you have to do is click the box. This, just for an example's sake, I'm going to click one that says euthanasia. Now, maybe I don't really understand what euthanasia is. It's a picture of an older person right here, their hand over their face. If I click it, you will always get a description here telling you what the topic is about. So here it's telling you that euthanasia is the art or practice of ending the life of a person suffering from a terminal illness or an incurable condition. Now, there are some people who would look at that issue and they would say, well, you know, should euthanasia be a legal option for the terminally ill? They can argue that euthanasia should be an option so that terminally ill do not have to endure needless pain and suffering. And some people might think that euthanasia is morally wrong and violates the basic principles of medical practice. So there are two sides of that particular issue. And what this company does is they will always present a topic and they will always give you a subset argumentative-based question about that particular issue. And they will offer up 3 articles that support each case. So in review point number 1, these links, these 3 that are here, these are links to articles that when you click them, these are links to articles that you can read that are about that particular issue and support that side. Now, this particular article here comes from a publication that's a newspaper. It's telling me that up here at the top of the screen. It's written by Melissa Cunningham, who's the writer. The Age is the name of the publication where it came from. So this newspaper is called The Age, and it was published in May 30th, 2020. Title of the article is Euthanasia Plans Upended by Virus, and the whole entire article is listed right here online. So we not only have, we do have a lot of obviously U.S. Articles that are here. We have some things that are overseas. This happens to be from Australia. So that is telling me right here, Melbourne, Australia is where it's coming from. If you find information in this article and you need to cite it, and so if your instructor wants you to create a works cited page or a roadmap back to where you got your information from, an MLA citation, they'll call it works cited. If it's APA, they call it a bibliography. Basically, it's a roadmap back to where you got your information from. Great thing about these companies is they cite the information for you. So if you look for your cite button, this happens to be located on the right-hand side of the page, you'll see that the MLA citation is done for you. You can click copy, or you can roll over this and do a right-click copy, and then you can paste it into your paper. And there you have your citation already created. What is a citation again? A citation repeats some of that information I talked about earlier before. Melissa Cunningham happens to be the writer of the article called Euthanasia Plans Upended by Virus that came out in a publication called The Age. When did it come out? It came out on May 30th of 2020, and it happened to be on page 6. If I opened up this publication, it's on page 6 if I had it in hand. We don't have it in hand, we've got it online, so it came from the database SIRS Issues Researcher, and there's the link to get back to it in case your instructor or whoever reads your paper wants to see that article where you got your information from. So that's how you can find your citations. All the citations are available here in SIRS Issues Researcher. Great place for you to get started. But here's the thing. If I go back a page and I told you that these 3 articles support this viewpoint and these 3 articles support that viewpoint, that doesn't mean that there's only 6 articles available on this topic. If you want more information, you come down and you click this little magnifying glass symbol with the find more sources for euthanasia, and there you have a lot more articles available for you here that you can go in and click on, and in full text you can bring up the entire article and you can read it. It came cover to cover, the exact same thing as if it was in print. It's now been bought, placed online from this company, and you have access to that information. If you want to cite it, you just come over and hit cite, and there you have it. Another nice thing that the database will allow you to do is it will give you view-related documents, usually tucked away over here to the right-hand side. Sometimes when you find an article that you really, really like, instead of going back to your original result list to look at other articles, If you like this one, the chances of finding another good one that relate to this one can be found in this section of View Related Documents, or if you click the link, See More Related Documents. If I go back another page, you can also see that on the left-hand side, this reinforces where you're getting information from. From the 836 results that we're getting back dealing with euthanasia on this list, 461 of these are from newspapers. 212 are from magazines. We also have some scholarly journals that are here. There's 52 hits from journals. And if you only want to see that type of media to come back, you just click the link of what you want. If I only want to see the scholarly journals, you click that link, and you're only getting the scholarly journals to come back. In fact, right here, it'll always say scholarly journals in this field. If you don't want it, check it off, and you can come back and you can pick another one, or you could just go through and take a look at different hits, because it could be a good mixture. Here we have some newspapers, here we have some magazine. So it's all mixed in together. You also have an option to look at just the most current information if you want to. If you only want the last month, hit last 30 days. That'll give you the most quickest, recent, most information that's there. You could do it from 30 days. You could do it from 12 months or a year. Or you could even do a custom date range if you want to, if you want to identify just a particular date range of information. Sometimes I have students who come in from medical field and they only need the last 5 years worth of something. Well, you could put in a date that's 5 years ago and then put in the current date in the to box, and then you have the last 5 years of a particular topic or issue. So that's available for you as well. So a lot of really cool stuff is available in this particular company's resource. I'm going to arrow it back one more time and show you that, or a couple more times, because I want to show you that when you're back on the page for that issue, so this is the landing page for euthanasia, and I told you that there were the 6 articles for the 2 different viewpoints. We also have something right underneath here called the Editable Research Guide for the Critical Thinker. This is another free guide that you can take a look at and you can download, and it will help you out in the research process. So if you're writing a paper, it'll give you a good guide for that. And again, also there's some critical questions where they did give you sort of a thing to think about up here at the top in terms of this viewpoint. It'll also give you some more specific critical questions to kind of think about, to maybe narrow down your topic and get it more on tune to something you're more interested in. Of course, one of the best things about a research topic is pick something that you're interested in as a top thing for you to think about when you're picking topics. And if I close Search Issues Researcher out, you'll see that I have a video that's created here that kind of will reinforce what I've talked about as far as Search Issues Researcher and how to select a topic, but also a section here talking about how to refine a topic so that you're not picking something too broad or too narrow. And also there's a link here for something called a mind map. So this comes from a resource that we have from Credo Reference. What the mind map allows people to do is, once you've typed in, and I've used an example of opioid, if you were doing things dealing with the opioid crisis or opioid abuse, when you type that in, you're going to be able to find relatable other vocabulary terms about your topic, and you can click onto those terms, and when you're using the mind map, it'll rearrange and even give you other types of terminology, and you can build your vocabulary on a particular issue. Now, this is just a visual representation of what the mind map looks like, but as you select things, you do actually have descriptions of what comes back. If you come in and click this link that says View in Credo, and that's going to open up something called Credo Reference. It's going to bring up our mind map over here to the right. And again, you can play around with it. And every time you click onto a different link, you're going to get a different set of results over here on the left, and you're going to get more information about that particular topic or vocabulary term as you kind of play around. So there's a lot of different things that you can do using Credo Reference, which is another way for you to kind of build background information in terms of your research topic. Now, Credo Reference is found underneath this section here that says How To, and if I come down to How to Find Books, How to Find eBooks, and come to How to Find Articles, if I click it, Credo reference is also found here on the right-hand side, along with SERS Issues Researcher. So these two can be really good places for you to find research, develop topics, think about topics, use the mind map, get different vocabulary together to kind of get your mind ready, and then you can move into a larger database to do keyword searching. At this point, if anybody wants to ask a question of me, I'll give a second for you. You could unmute yourself and ask a question. If there are no questions, I will proceed forward with the rest of the presentation.
I sent you a little chat about my my professor wanted me to ask if you could email her for proof that I was in this course this morning.
Okay, I'll do that. Is this for Miss Witherell?
Yes, yes.
I will. I'll make sure that she credits you.
Thank you so much. That's the only question that I had.
Okay. Anybody else? Alrighty. Well, I'm going to move on to the next thing that I wanted to talk about is, you know, I've pointed out that, you know, there's a home feature over here. We went to selected topics. We looked at SERS Issues Researcher. I had that embedded mind map that comes from Credo Reference. So if you come over to this little drop-down menu and we go to How To, when you come to How to Find Articles, I have 3 links here. So SERS Issues Researcher and Credo Reference, again, good places to get started. But once you get your mind kind of wrapped around a particular topic that you're interested in, then I think I would suggest that you move into something like ProQuest Central. Now, ProQuest Central is a database that is keyword searchable. So when you go into it and you're trying to find information on it, it is like a Google search where you type in a particular term or set of terms, and anywhere that term shows up in various articles, they'll come back as a hit because those words happen to show up in the article itself. So I'm going to use a real-world example of a topic that somebody gave me yesterday, just to kind of get you to think about different ways in which you can search and some of the pitfalls that can happen if you're a little bit too narrow or not as defined in your search when you're trying to get stuff back. So I had a student who was interested in information dealing with communication with people, personal communication, dealing with trust issues, and you know, trying to find some more information about how we can develop more trust with each other, how we can develop trust within ourselves, for people, things like that. So if I were to go into a database like this and I just type in the word trust and hit enter, she's going to find wherever that word shows up in various articles. 18 million hits come back. It's in real no context at all. All of these articles mention the word trust, but it doesn't really mean maybe even the way I'm thinking about it. The way I described it deals with relationships. The word trust can show up in business. You know, if you're in a business world, people set up things in trusts. Just because the word shows up, the database doesn't understand what meaning you have of it. So we can do some other things here. Maybe we can take a look at articles that have a particular phrase in it. That might narrow things down a little bit. So what if we were looking at anything that deals with the issue of trust in others? If you're trying to find this as a phrase with all those words side by side together, make sure you put that in quotations like I just did here. That's going to keep it all together. If I just typed in trust in others without the quotations, I'll get hits that come back, but it might not be necessarily because those words are in that order, and that doesn't give you the best relevancy in terms of the research that comes back. So that's just a general phrase that might come in. We can put in trust in others. We get 6,000 hits that come back, and then we can see here that we have different hits here talking about putting trust in others. Trust in others is vital. And we can come down through these and take a look at what they're talking about. All of these are from various different articles. So any of these that you can click onto, I'm just going to pick one at random. You're going to see, just like SERS Issues Researcher, we've got the full text of the article here. And on the right-hand side, we have a cite button that you can click onto. The citation for MLA is there. Some people do ask me for APA citation, and Service Issues Researcher it does the same thing. You can come to a drop-down menu, you can select APA, and you will see the APA citation for you. So that's available in Service, available here. So just kind of keep that in mind, that the citations are done for you. It also has the related hits over here on the right-hand side. Same kind of concept I mentioned before. If you find something you really like, chances are finding something very similar to the one you're reading is over here on the right-hand side than if I arrowed it back a page and went back to the original result list. Just like Service Issues Researcher, we also have the ability to only look at certain types of information. If we only want to look at scholarly journals, we can select that. If you only want to look at the newspaper articles or the magazine articles, you can select that. The difference between Service Issues Researcher and this one is scholarly journals, which is where a lot of research is published, and this is like the original research a researcher is doing might be published. So give you an example, people who are coming up with the vaccine for COVID-19, when they publish their findings, their results, their scientific research, they will publish that in a scholarly journal. Now, it's possible that a newspaper writer or magazine writer may pick up on that information and publish it in a newspaper or magazine, but the original research is in a scholarly journal. If you only want to see those journals, you could click on it, but do keep in mind, ProQuest Central has the highest chance of you getting the most scholarly journals. Service Issues Researcher is a great place to get started with and has really good stuff, but it has more magazine newspaper articles, whereas this one has, ProQuest Central has more scholarly journals. They both have magazines and newspapers in both. They both have journals in both, but there's a higher chance of getting more journals in this one than there are in the Service Issues Researcher. Now, it also has the opportunity for you to limit by date range if you want to. You can use this little slider, and that goes by decades, or you could put in a customized date range if you want to as well. Let me go in here. Click that so you can see it's just like the other one. You can put in different days and months. You can use the calendar here to do that. So if you wanted the last 5 years or something, you'd select a date 5 years from today back, and then put in today's date here, and you could just limit yourself to that. You can also come up to the top and amend your search. So I went from 18 million hits to 6,000. That's a lot better, but hey, maybe there's another way we can limit this. So if we're looking at trust in others, and maybe dealing with anything that talks about that and good communication skills, maybe a writer would put the word communication in the article. Now, what I'm doing is I'm adding in another term, and this is something called Boolean searching. It's something the database likes. So keep that in mind. You want to kind of talk to the database and tell it, I want to find this and this in the same article. The more things you can and in together, and you literally type and in, the less hits you're going to get back, but hopefully more on topic with what you need. And this involves you switching vocabulary terms in and out. I mean, you're just going to have to play around with this a little bit. But this is how you can kind of bring the hit set down to a more reasonable amount of hit results, so you're not getting too many things and too many things that are just out there all over the place. So I limited it. Half of the articles disappeared, and you can see that trust in others shows up. It also has to have the word communication somewhere in here, and that's why they're coming back as a hit. Even though you're seeing communication here, if I click this, you'll see it also highlights that trust in others is mentioned in this one, and vice versa. Communication is listed in these two that are up here at the top, 2 hits. But these are all full text. Sometimes you'll get the full text in what's known as HTML format. In this case, this one is in PDF format, which is basically just the whole article has been scanned in, and you can see it that this came from an original print publication. So that's all it's reinforcing to you from that. And so this is a great place for you to go into and find tons and tons of articles for research. And I'm going to close it out and show you that it's easily found right here. But I also have this link on our library homepage. What this guide is letting you do is it just kind of combines some things. It gives more description of what these databases are, what they contain, and makes things just a little bit easier to kind of flow through. Now, I have things kind of arranged by the type of information that you're finding. So if you come up to this drop-down menu, we looked at how to find articles, but there's other types of information you can find. If you're looking for videos on a particular topic, I've got how to find streaming videos. And the biggest collection that we own is something called Films on Demand. You can either click this graphic here or the link that's right here, and that's going to open up into the Films on Demand. Now, I also want to point out to you that when you're clicking these things at home, you will be asked to log in, and your login is going to be the same as your login to get onto Blackboard or to log into the network computers here at Gaston College. However, if you run into any kind of roadblock, we have a generic login that you can use. The username and password is GCNC Live for both the username and password. If you run into any problems, contact me. I'll give that out to you. But if you want to write it down, it's GC like Gaston College, NC like North Carolina, and the word live. So GCNCLIVE, lowercase for both the username and password, will get you into any of our resources when you're off campus. I'm not being asked to log in here because I'm on campus, but when you're off campus, you will be asked to log in. Now, this is a great resource for you to use. You can come in and you can click onto it and you can put in any topic that you're interested in. And so just a real quick topic, just to get something out there, I'm going to put in global warming real quick, and you'll see that we'll have a number of hits that come back dealing with global warming. We can go in and we can take a look at those different types of videos. We can play them right here in the little play button. And the nice thing is we also have citation available for you. It's underneath the video right down here. You can click cite. There's your MLA citation. So you can use the video if you want to and cite that information. Another great thing that Films on Demand has is they have these videos segmented so you can see the different segments of videos, but they also offer transcripts. If I click the transcript in this box, you have the transcript of the entire video. So I just selected a certain section right here. I'm going to scroll down and select another section. As it talks, it highlights the words. But here's the thing. Why is that important for you to have the transcript? It'll make things easier in case you find some information in a video and maybe there's a quote that someone said, or maybe there's a piece of statistical information someone said. Instead of having to play the video, stop it, replay it, all that kind of stuff, you've got the whole transcript right here. In fact, you could just read the video if you wanted to, or if you're just more of like a reader of information than you are listening to something, you've got the text of the entire video that's available for you right here. So I think that's a big benefit. Most of the videos here have the transcripts available. And again, the other neat thing about it is you could read it, and if you get to a particular place that you want to play the video, you just click the word of where you want it to start, and it'll start playing the video at that particular section. So that's kind of neat to have, is to have these transcripts available for you. And we have 45,000 videos that are here added. It's always added every month. There's new videos added to this collection. So there's always a wealth of new information coming here. And it's a really great place where you find good academic streaming videos. If I close it out and come back up here to the top, we can see that we also have the top two labels say Find Books and Find eBooks. If I come up to the very top of the screen and hit Find Books, I could put in global warming and the Marist Library catalog, which will show you what books we have in our collection. And so here I've got a number of different hits that are coming back that are dealing with books that we have in our collection. You know, the title of the book is listed here. We have the call numbers for the book to help you locate them in the library. You can see a staff member will help you find it. If you're in the library, to come and get the book. I told you earlier at the very beginning of the session that if you get a library card from us, you can check out what we have, but you can also search the other community colleges. And if I come up and do a new search and type in global warming again, I can select, whoops, let me go back here. I can select my library to be searching all libraries, and I'll be able to get more hits that come back on my topic, but I'm getting hits from other community colleges, and I can come down and I can select any of these books and have them brought here for me to check out. There's one called Global Warming. It's at McDowell Community College. If you click it, you can come over here to the left and hit place hold. And if you have a library card, you'll have a barcode number you can put in as your user ID. You'll click place hold, and they'll send that book from McDowell here for us to tell you that it's available. You'll come in with your library card, check it out. We'll call you on the phone when it comes in. It takes about a week for something to get mailed from one location to the other. But again, this opens up your borrowing capacity, and you have more material available to you. Now that is on print collection. If I come back over to my guide and come down to ebooks and select it and come over to the NC Live ebook collection, you've got ebooks that you can search for as well. And you have full text ebooks that are available on various topics. So you don't even have to come into the library. You can do a search on something you're interested in, click on the title of that particular ebook, come in, and you can put in Gaston College real quick. You can come into the drop-down page for that particular book, and you can click the option that says read online, and there you've got your book. Table of contents over here on the left-hand side. You can kind of scroll around. If you want to cite the book, quotation symbol at the top is your citation. So you got your MLA citation already done for you, an entire book available for you to have access to. Now, I do keep in mind that there's another option that says download book. If you select it, you can download this book if you want to, but you have to create an account. Easy for you to do. It's a free thing to do. Just put in your name, put in an email password, hit create account. The advantageous thing about this is that if you download the book for offline use, one, you can use it when you're not connected to the internet. Another is you can mark up the book. You can put highlighted features, notes. There's a lot of different things you can do. And then it will save the book so that if you come back to it, you can come back and log back in. You can come back and see the notes that you put for the book. You don't have to do that. You can just do the read online, but that option is free and available for you to have access to. So now, from our guide, we have looked at how to find books, how to find ebooks, how to find articles, streaming videos, and finally statistics. So there's two links that are here. I'm going to let you explore Statistical Abstract on your own. It's a really great resource for you to have tons and tons of stuff about the United States, tons and tons of different things dealing with various topics in Statistical Abstract. But I want you to focus on something here called Statista today. We go into it. Statista is a unique resource, tons and tons of statistics on various topics. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go into just a general search, and I'm going to go from a topic that I didn't originally select, but I'm going to tell you that this could be a research topic for you to use. And this is a topic of the Electoral College. And without getting into the whole weeds of what the Electoral College is, because if you're going to do research, you need to read up on what it is. So let's pretend I've done my research on it. I know what the Electoral College is about. And I've read a lot of articles, and there's a lot of people who are for it and some are against it. The Electoral College is primarily exclusively used in United States presidential elections. It's not used at other levels, not used when you're electing a mayor, a governor, a senator, a House of Representatives, a congressman. It's very unique, and it's only used for the President of the United States. And there's some people who think that it's useful, and there's some people who think that it's antiquated and doesn't need to be used anymore. If I'm looking for some statistics dealing with the Electoral College, just a quickly general search, I'm just going to type that in. You're going to see that there's a lot of different statistical information that's coming back as hit results, and it'll include some raw data that you can take a look at. See what they're talking about here at the top and see all the different raw data available. But also Statista has something kind of interesting that when you search for something, it'll categorize the type of statistics that come back. Statistics or the raw data, something called forecasts and surveys, but they have something called infographics, which is kind of neat. If you click the infographics, it'll show you all the infographics related to the general broad issue of the Electoral College. And what that allows you to do is see sort of a more of a graphical representation of data than you may see if you click on the statistics. So and here, maybe we're only interested in taking a look at the presidents who did not win the popular vote. So there's a thing where you have to win the Electoral College to become president, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you got more votes than the other candidate. It's happened about 5 times in presidential history. It happened with Donald Trump. It happened with the first time George Bush was elected, George W. Bush. It happened with Rutherford B. Hayes, I believe. There's a couple other people in history. And if you click onto it, you'll see a graphic representation of William Henry Harrison, Rutherford B. Hayes, Adams, and then you have Bush and Trump. These are people who did not win the popular vote, as opposed to the green. These are the people who did win the popular vote and the presidency. It's possible that you can win the Electoral College and not get more votes than another person. Again, popular vote is how we determine mayors, governors, senators, congressmen. It's not how we do the presidential election necessarily. And sometimes it doesn't always correlate that winning Electoral College is winning the same thing as winning the popular vote. So Hillary Clinton had more votes than Donald Trump, but he wound up winning because of the rules of the Electoral College. If you were using this data, you could put it into, you can take this graphic and put it into a paper, you could put it into a PowerPoint. So infographics are kind of neat. It's a good place for you to locate them. Infographics are found when you do Google searches too, but here's the thing about the resources I've shown you today. The resources I've shown you today are credible. All right, it's very important that you find credible information. So a lot of stuff that's out there that is posted, but it might not necessarily be the most credible, useful thing for you to use. So on my guide, I've created something here called Evaluating Websites. Just something for you to think about, that when you're going out and doing Google searches and you do find things that are out there for free, not part of the library. Library are paid for resources, but if you're Googling things, it's the free stuff. Yeah, you got to evaluate it. You got to make sure that it's good for you to use. You got to make sure that it has, proper dates of when it was updated. I mean, I don't know if you've been out and done research and found a web page that you liked and you thought that was pretty good for you to use, but then you look and you see, I don't even know when this thing was updated. It doesn't have a date. It might not necessarily be easy enough for me to understand who put it together, who was the writer. It may have been written by people who have certain biases. So you just kind of have to be really aware of that. There's a very politically charged term that's out there now in terms of something called fake news. Don't let that throw you off. That can be a useful thing for you to think about in terms of just more information to kind of think through what you're getting back in terms of understanding if a particular news story is true or not. Folks, I can give you a blanket answer to Facebook posts or social media posts. Most of that stuff is just garbage, not true, usually intended to incite people. It's really not where you want to get your news resources from. And so this kind of talks about that a little bit here under fake news. But evaluating websites, dealing with topics of fake news is just things that you have to think about when you're going and searching the web or being involved in social media posts. You also want to avoid plagiarism. You don't want to take somebody's information and pass it off as your own. So this is just something for you to think about. And over here on the far right-hand side, I've got 2 links to MLA Citation Guide and APA Citation Guide. I'm going to click MLA Citation, and there's tons and tons of information that's in here on how to properly cite an MLA. If you come to this drop-down menu of how do I cite, it'll show you how to cite different formats of different materials. Just want to highlight that there's all different types of sources that you can get information from. You can get a book can be a source, an ebook can be a source, magazine, newspaper, and journal articles that you can get from ProQuest and SIRS and Creative Reference. All of those are various sources. But you can also use different types of sources, videos, statistics. How about interviewing somebody? If you have somebody that you know is a very knowledgeable professional that knows their topic and knows the topic of research and can explain themselves and articulate the point that they want to make, and you know them, and you can interview them if you want to. And interviews can be cited. Here I've got an example of interviews that can be done in person, email interviews, or telephone interviews, and it has the description of how you can put that together. So that's another unique type of thing that you can do, along with some other types of things that are listed here on How Do I Cite. So folks, that kind of ends my presentation here of the things that we have available. I want to do a recap, and then I'm going to open it up for any final questions that anybody has. The recap is, if I come back into the Gaston College homepage, which looks like this, to find the library, you come up and click Library at the very top, and to find the guide that I've created, you're going to find it under the chat box, under College Level Research. If you're looking for a topic, you can explore selected topics. If you want to look at certain types of information, whether it's books in our library, you can do Find Books, or you can go in and you can take a look at the ebooks, our articles, our streaming videos, or our statistics. If you're doing Google searching and doing research, be aware that you can click on evaluating websites to evaluate those things. If you're looking at social media, you can see how you can discern between fake news and what's real and what's not, and make sure that you're not taking information from other people and passing it off as your own. That's plagiarism. And then we have our MLA citation guide that's over here to the right. So all that information right there, I think, can be very useful for you, and finding good research for your particular topic of interest. At this point, I will field any questions that anybody may have.
I have a question.
Yes,
With the videos, is it just straight short documentary videos, or is it full-length movies? Because in my research class, we're supposed to pick a movie, and I chose Mississippi Burning, and I thought I had it, and I'm trying to find it again, and I wanted to know if I could find that on the website for the library, or if I need to go somewhere else.
So theatrical works are not included in Films on Demand. Films on Demand is more documentary, educational type programming. So if you're looking for theatrical work, what I would suggest is, do you live in Gaston County?
Yes.
Do you have a Gaston County Public Library card?
Somewhere buried in my books.
I would do a search. I would go to the Gaston County Public Library website and search their catalog, and see, they may have DVD that's available for you to rent. So that's a possibility for you. We have only just barely begun to put together a few theatrical things because we had an assignment in the medical area. Mississippi Burning was not included in that, but we have a subscription to another resource that's out there for about 10 theatrical videos for that particular class and its assignment. We may try to build that collection more. We do have some theatrical DVDs that are in-house, but I know that Mississippi Burning was not one of those that was included. Okay. But I would try your public library, because that would be a free way for you to be able to get access to it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? I do want to tell you, Haley, too, the thing about Mississippi Burning, if you read a little bit more about it and you read about the people who are involved in that, while I don't have the theatrical movie, and I haven't done a search yet, and you could try this on your own, there may be some videos that are going to tell you about that event. That was a movie, but it was based on a real event. So that we could have some information that's in there. And actually, if you go into ProQuest Central, there's probably tons of articles that are out there that talk about what happened during those events that happened in Mississippi almost 50 years ago. 50 years ago, I think, was when that happened. Any other questions? So the final thing is, I know Shakira said that she was doing this for credit. Was anybody else doing that I need to tell Ms. Witherell?
I'm doing that for credit too.
Okay. I'll tell her that you did it. And Haley, are you doing that, or you just jumped in one C?
I have no clue if it is for class credit or not. I'm with Mr. Withers.
Okay. Yeah.
I just figured that I should probably do this.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, it's a great guy. And if you need any help, just let me know. But yeah, Miss Witherell teaches business class, and so that's the other two students who are in that. So I'm going to put them down, let her know that. But I appreciate y'all taking the time to come in and take a look at these resources. And listen, if you need anything, just let us know. I mean, our library is here to help you out, and please make use of that chat feature or contact me directly, and we'll do the best we can for you. So I hope you have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you. See ya.
Thank you.
Thank you for your help.
You're welcome.